All right, the one fundamental footwork that will violate or seemingly violate what I talked about so far about always having basically the orientation of your stance in terms of depth and width being constant is the gallop step, okay? But what you lose in having the same stance, the integrity of that same posture or positioning of your lower body, what you lose with that, you're going to gain in mobility, and that's really what the gallop step is about. This is when you're going to bust a move, so to speak. Not that it has to be super fast, but you're going to try and get ahead of somebody to cut them off, or you're going to be trying to get ahead of them on a retreat or an angle off. So the difference is, instead of, if we go back to my bounce here, where I'm moving around in all these directions, okay, and my feet always stay in the same distance relative to one another, when you do the gallop step, you're going to notice that you're covering distance, and there will be a moment where your feet come together. So instead of, say, if I'm going to gallop in this direction, instead of stepping in my foot that's in that direction, my right foot, and then moving my left to adjust, you're going to see that as I gallop, it will actually be the opposite foot that moves first, and then I start to move out. Okay, so I can gallop forward, I can gallop back, I can gallop side to side. And again, this is a great way, say if somebody's trying to angle off, that you can gallop, get ahead of them, and then set yourself. Or somebody is sort of blitzing at you and you need to move a little bit faster because you don't want them to get inside your defense. You want to range management with a little more distance between you. Okay, this is where I can easily gallop off. And you want to make sure that you become proficient at that footwork as well. Okay, so another punch that's a power side punch that comes into play that utilizes this tilting orientation of your body is the overhand. So that's a little bit distinct from the cross because, again, it's the orientation of my hips and shoulders. So when I'm moving in this plane, that would be the cross. Once I've put on the tilt, okay, now we're talking about a downward trajectory of the punch, and that's an overhand. So it's going to be delivered a little bit differently. And although some people use an overhand effectively in Western boxing, I would say it's actually more common as a tool when you have a Muay Thai based delivery system because it's very effective for being able to use the body hooks, the overhands in combination, because they both take place on that tilt in combination with kicks. In particular, I find the leg kicks. So from here, as I step into the punch, okay, I'm actually going to tilt my shoulders and I'm turning my elbow up, so you see a downward trajectory from the elbow down through the knuckles into the target, which would be anywhere along, okay, this ridge of the, again, from the temple on the striking side all the way down to the cheek, to the jaw, to the chin area, okay? But it's going to be coming in from the side, kind of entering in that quadrant. So when I throw that punch, okay, really throwing my head to the side. Normally we talk about hiding your jaw and your chin inside the punch, but there's going to be that moment where as I step, before that happens, you're going to see my elbow rotating up, and there'll be a little bit of a distance here before that happens, okay? As opposed to throwing across where it really never isn't hidden inside. Okay. So this is not to be confused with doing this when you throw a standard cross. That's very bad. From here, stepping, putting on the tilt, elbow raises, downward trajectory, two big knuckles. Everything's a straight line from here. Okay. All right, let's just take a quick look at the placement when I'm throwing. Okay, this from here, and right now I just have you do like sort of a tight guard in front. Say I've kind of drawn his guard from going straight. Now I'm going to hit that slight angle, but it's kind of like a hybrid between a cross and throwing a hook on that side. So from here, as I make my step into range, I'm going to put the tilt on my body, and this is coming out at this angle, right? You see how it can just sort of wrap around the outside, and I've got all my weight of my upper body coming into it. Very important to make sure that you have, again, a straight line there from elbow all the way to knuckles. So now let's just take a look on the pads. So very important when you are holding for this one that there's going to be a slight downward angle here, because that, again, is going to reflect the angle that I've been punching on to the head. So from here, when I throw, I'm going to take a little bit of a step, create the tilt, and then everything comes together and make sure, again, you have this orientation of your elbow to knuckle. So step in. As soon as I finish the punch, I'm coming back to my standard posture again. I want to hang out down there in the tilt zone.
If I'm here, chest to chest, side mounted, that means that I was maybe standing, I threw his legs out of the way, boom, I dove in, and he don't forgot the, what's this called? I'll give you a hint. Starts with shrimp, ends with escape. Any guesses? Shrimp escape. He shoots in, go ahead. That's the correct technique. But he don't misses the shrimp escape. Let's say I land, boom. Now guess where I'm gonna go next? I'm either gonna sit up to punch him, in which case he can easily do the shrimp escape. He can put me back in the guard. Or I'm gonna try to mount on him and step over. And once I mount, then I might punch him. Hidon does not want me to mount. No matter what, he does not want me to mount. So we use the elbow escape from the side mount. While I transition over, Hidon's gonna use the elbow escape. Very similar to what we already learned. Let's rotate the angle. This elbow is the key detail. Let's watch Hidon do it once, and then we'll break it down. Okay, so from here. So, check it out. First things first. Hidon puts his forearm, which is this part of his arm right here, on my inside of my knee, on my thigh right here. He's blocking it. Okay? And he follows it. He follows it. Look how he's moving. He does not leave it still. He follows it. The other hand is hugging my neck to keep me close so I can't sit up easily. And now his leg is flat on the ground. Look at his leg right here, how it's flat. Lift it up, down. Once I go to mount with this leg, he pushes my leg and slips under and traps it. Then he hugs the neck, and then he pushes the other knee and scoots his hips away, slips his knee out, bite the back, and then guard. Once he gets me in the guard, he wins. So you can see how similar it is to the original elbow escape, where you come under the leg. Let me try, please. One time, and then Horan's turn. Watch my elbow. So look at parents, look how Hidon begins the drill. He's on his knees, and he's gonna come and drape his body over mine with his elbows on the other side of my body.
And if I already lay this leg down flat, if this leg was up like this, put your leg right here flat on the ground, good, and this elbow right here tucked in.
So Hidon kind of reminds me where my elbow's supposed to be. And then he lays his body over. I'm gonna hug his neck, keep him close. My elbow has to block, kids. Elbow must be solid right here. Don't leave a spaghetti arm, no spaghetti here. Block, and as Hidon steps his leg over, I wait till Hidon steps over. Now watch. Now, go back. If Hidon's much bigger than me, he'll make his leg light for me. He'll help me come under. But eventually, I will come under on my own. Now, there's an important detail here about how, get off that side, bro, how my body's curling. I'm not straight doing it from here. Watch my body. I curl like a C. Look. So I'm pushing the leg and I'm sliding my leg under. Okay? Kids could possibly do it with their hands also. Mount again, side mount. Kids, you could possibly do it with your hand. If the leg is very far away, you can put your hand on the knee right here. Go ahead. Mount. Maybe grab the pants, go mount, and then shove it and come under. So you're allowed to use your hand. If you have little arms, use the hand, use the elbow. Possibly hand is going to be easier for the really short arms.
Just make sure you keep your leg flat on the ground.
Because if your leg comes up, their foot's going to sneak under and you lose. Got it? Ready, kids? Horan's ready. Horan, get it. Head like right here and feet kind of that way. Perfect. So Hidon's going to side mount. Look how he's helping his legs. Nice. Horan sideways too. This is very good. Hug his neck with this hand as he comes in. Yes, and other elbow block his knee solid. Yes, you can use your hand and shove it. It's fine. Shove under, come under. Trap the leg. Nice. Turn it. Put him in the guard. Trap, trap.
Oh, wait. Hold my neck right here.
Yes, and get this knee out first, and then lock him up. So watch this.
Oh, the hook.
Yeah, the hook removal on the last side. So again, because my arms are longer, I use my elbow, but I could use my hand. Watch. Shove and come under. Turn, trap the leg. This hand here can hug the body or the neck. Just hug something so that you're close.
Go back.
Rotate.
And my elbow that was over here, I picked myself up and I put my arms out like this to give him space to finish the technique.
Now, we learned this on the elbow escape, and we're going to remind you one more time. When you slip your knee out, if your foot gets trapped inside his leg, my toes are stuck. How do I get my toes out? Somebody help me. what do I do with my legs? Number one, we bite the back, block the punch. Number two, how do I get my foot out? Which way do I scoot? A or B? B. We scoot towards the trapped foot. Watch. Scoot my hips. Look how much space that creates. And then I lock it up. Now kids, what they'll do, and what some of the kids did here, is instead of scooting the hips out, they do this. They just pull their leg out. And yes, we'll let that slide in the beginning, but eventually, because the Hidon's knee is very tight, I can't get my foot out. It literally is stuck. The only way is if you scoot your hips. So.
And we're so much taller that there's so much more space.
Yes, their legs are like this long.
They get a little spoiled.
Yes, but as they get older, let's get that leg tighter. Parents, get a little bit tighter and make sure they do that final hip scoot. And if they don't do it on their own, grab their hips and help them do it. Kids, focus. Final hip scoot. We call it the final hip scoot.
It's going to be really important when you're fighting somebody your same size and there's not as much space as your parent.
Absolutely. Huge deal. Everything's important. Okay? Slow motion. This is the elbow escape from the side mount. We're actually doing it during the transition. So as they're mounting, we're making the escape. Not before, not after, during the transition. And yes,
there's one thing about this move. When I was a kid, sometimes it was difficult to pick up somebody's leg too soon, or I was a little late maybe, and the person might actually step over and get to the mount.
And you didn't do it right.
It's okay if I can get over to the mount, because as long as his leg is still flat and his elbow is still tucked in, he still has a chance.
So even after the mount, don't do this. Oh, I give up. Okay,
Look at my foot right here just slid inside.
Then don't lift this up. You lose. As long as your leg is flat and your elbow is in, you still have a chance. So then you keep shoving and sliding under, or using your hand, whatever fits.
So this technique becomes the elbow escape from the mount.
Does that make sense?
As long as you keep your leg flat and your elbow tucked in, you're in business.
100%. That's so incredible. So a failed elbow escape from the side mount means that when they mount, just keep trying with the flat leg and go under. Now, if they get their hook in, if the bad guy gets the hook under, then you gotta obviously regroup, figure out what you're gonna do.